Hey everyone, welcome back to One Page Ahead podcast, where I break down the most popular self-help books one chapter at a time so you can get the conversational lesson without reading a single page. And in season 1, we're on the book Atomic Habits. We're on chapter 12, and this chapter is called The Law of Least Effort. Let's be honest here, as humans, we all want change, but we don't want to work for it. You want to get fit, but you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to eat healthy. You want to eat better, but it seems like it almost feels like it's a second job. Here's one that I get a lot. You want a promotion, but you don't want to go through the interview process or prep for the interview or even think about that at all. And then this chapter talks all about that. It's not that we're lazy, it's that we're wired to take the path with the least resistance. What does that mean? Well, our brains aren't chasing what is better for us, it's chasing what is easier for us. What I love about this chapter is that when we think about goals, it's always about adding more effort, doing more, to get more, to be better. But what we should really be thinking about is taking away, removing friction, doing less, making it more efficient. And that we're wired to see videos and motivation every single day, thinking that motivation and inspiration is going to get us there. But really, this chapter talks about removing friction in your life will get us closer. So naturally, the question that you should be asking is, well, if human nature is always choosing the easier path, then how do we make sure, you and I both, that the habits that we choose are the easier ones? So that takes us to the first discussion, which I think you'll really like, and you'll take something away immediately, is as humans, we follow the law of least effort. The more effort it takes you to do something, the less likely you are going to do it. Massive effort is exhausting. We agree on that. So you and I are wired, our brains tell us, let's avoid that. Let's avoid all that friction. We call those obstacles. And to understand that better, every habit is an obstacle to what you truly want. So dieting is an obstacle to getting fit. Meditation is an obstacle to feeling zen or feeling at peace or feeling calm. Journaling is a habit for some people. That's an obstacle for clarity in your day. The real goal here is to make the path of what you want the easiest to achieve as possible. Very simply, if it takes 20 steps to do something, you're probably not going to do it. Whereas if it takes 2 steps to do something, you're likely going to do it. We've talked about convenience in the past, right? If it is inconvenient for me to grab my snack and it's in the garage, I got to go downstairs, go to the garage, open up the drawer and all that to get my snack while I'm sitting here, I'm probably not going to do it. But if it's right there, I'm likely going to grab my snack and snack. And what's even more powerful, if it takes no effort to do something, that becomes our unconscious habit and that becomes who we are. So how do we get closer to having spent no effort but still achieving things? So that brings us to the second point of the book, is how do we achieve more with less? By now, you should know the pattern that habits stick to your flow of your day or your flow of your life. And one of the things it talks about in this book is you're more likely going to the gym if it's on your way to work or on your way back home. If it is in your journey, think about the habit scorecard, for example, the things that you do in the day. If you can slot it in where it makes sense, a habit, you're likely going to do that. We talked about if I've got a glass of water on my desk, I'm likely going to drink more water. And so if we want to do something, we want to reduce as much friction as we possibly can. And this book talks about if you need motivation to start something, then your system is likely too difficult. So look back and look for ways that we can simplify things. For example, if going to the gym is me getting my gym gear, planning my route, planning my time, what time do I have to wake myself up, and being ready to go to the gym, take pre-workout and all that, that's probably too difficult. What I should be doing is prepping that maybe as part of my bedtime routine. I get up immediately, my pre-workout's right next to me, shake, drink and go. That might be a simpler system than waking up early already, which is already tiring, and trying to do that all at once. And that's what's fascinating about this portion, is that it talks about you don't need better discipline, you just need a better design. And so how do we build a better design? We talked about environment in the past, and if you haven't listened to the environment chapter, that's an awesome chapter to really be the architect of your space. And we're just going to build off that for a second here. Prime your environment for future use. That is what the takeaway here is because we talked about if we make things as easy as possible, we will naturally do it. And so if we prime our environment almost as a default to do something, we are likely just going to go with the flow. That's where you see productivity people, right? People that are very productive, that they give productivity tips. They've embedded that into your life, in their lives, where if you were to replicate their system, you're probably going to fail because they've built that in their environment. And so that's why I'm always a little bit wary about productivity hacks, or this is how you structure a perfect day, because you could probably take bits and pieces of it, but you're never going to be able to really replicate what people do. So my advice to you after reading this chapter is look at your environment and future-proof it. How do you do that? Is that you start designing your space today for tomorrow or for the future. That's what priming means. And what that does, it removes the decision-making process, and you see an item in your environment and you're automatically going to action it. Because if every action or every habit starts with a cue, why don't you just control the cue? So talking about the gym, for example, if I'm getting ready to take my shower at night, well, I'm going to take out the clothes that I need to wear for the gym tomorrow morning, right? I'm going to put the pre-workout right next to my bed so that when I wake up, I'm just going to down that before I start my day. Or let's say another one is a virtual environment. This is a goal of many people. I want to save more money. I want to invest more money. Well, instead of doing it when you think about it, set automatic payments, set automatic investments. There's zero friction there. It's done for you. And so then you just have to balance out the budgets of what you have left because you didn't see the money going out to begin with. The example that they have in the book is somebody puts all their seasonal greetings cards, right? Like happy birthday cards, Thanksgiving cards, Christmas cards laid out for the year. And so they just go through it. The very little effort on, oh, dang, I got to go out and get a card and write a card. They have it not pre-written out, but just in sequence of what that year already looks like. And so that they just grab it off the top of the pile, write it, and go. I think that's a great example. I might actually incorporate that. So those are just examples of priming your environment, removing the friction before it even shows up. We don't have to push yourself to do better, to do things that's harder, push harder. We just need to set our environment up better, set our stage up better. So just to really recap this chapter, chapter 12, the law of least effort. You and I both know that human nature is just lazy by design, but not in a bad way. We're built to conserve energy when we don't need to use it, and that's brain power or physical power. And so that's why we always go with the least resistance, the path of least resistance. So instead of fighting it and finding motivation to overcome it, why don't we work with it and redesign things so that we optimize it? Number one, I think we just have to accept that we will follow the path of least resistance. And once that happens, it's number two, we have to have habits that are embedded in our flow of life. The smaller the disruption, the easier it is going to be habit forming. And then number three, prime for your future success. Prime your environment for future use. Don't rely on motivation to take you through to tomorrow. If you've got a little bit of energy to expend today, set it up for tomorrow so that tomorrow is easier. All right, we are at the end of chapter 12, and it's really about creating momentum and removing friction or avoiding friction. I am looking at chapter 13 here, and the chapter is how to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. And I think this is going to be a great chapter. I'm looking forward to it. That being said, these are all my opinions of the chapter and how I interpreted the book. So if they're different from someone else's, good on them, good on ya. If you want a copy of this book, there's an Amazon link below that you can make your purchase there. I always find that when you read something yourself or you watch something for a second time, for example, a movie, you're always going to notice different details and it's going to click in a different way. That being said, thank you for watching. My name is Tsang. I'll catch you in the next chapter. And if you learn anything new, if you enjoyed any part of this, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I want you to be on this journey with me. Can't believe it. I've started this channel a few weeks ago. We're at 90 subscribers. 90 subscribers is a lot to me. So thank you for everyone's support, and I look forward to discussing the next chapter with you. Take care.